Tonight, on Mr. Darkman TV, we step into a world of glittering crowns, perfect smiles, and flawless runways. But behind the curtain lies a chilling, emotional battlefield few ever see. This is not just the story of a beauty queen. This is the story of a girl who walked through the fire of bullying, homophobia, and heartbreaking isolation, and somehow emerged with England's most coveted crown in her hands. I'm your host, Zainab Sabir, and what you're about to hear is not just a beauty pageant tale. It is a real-life investigation into pain, courage, and destiny. An account stitched with scars, secrets, and the kind of evidence that cannot be forgotten. Welcome to a story of shattering stereotypes, rewriting history, and exposing the invisible war inside the world of pageantry. But what if I told you that before the cameras, before the lights, before the crown, Grace Richardson, the first openly lesbian Miss England in history, was once a terrified teenager hiding in dark corridors of her school, bullied so brutally that she questioned her own worth and sanity? What if I told you that behind her iconic smile lies a trail of chilling moments, inedible proof of cruelty, and the kind of emotional wounds that leave fingerprints on a person's soul? Tonight, we peel back those layers. Tonight, you will see what Grace survived and what she conquered. Like and subscribe to Mr. Darkman TV because the truth, or the real truth, lives here. The cold mornings of Leicestershire weren't just weather for Grace. Every walk to school felt like marching into a battlefield. At 15, right after the traumatic blur of the COVID lockdowns, she came out as gay. She thought it would free her. Instead, it chained her. The hallways that once echoed with chatter began to murmur with taunts. Boys leaned against lockers, sneering, calling her too skinny, others mocking her height, twisting their insults, sometimes short, sometimes tall, as if her body itself was their playground for cruelty. These weren't simple school insults, they were deliberate strikes, meant to break a young girl discovering herself. And they worked. Grace recalls nights when she would sit alone, staring in the mirror, wondering if she was a mistake. The mental wounds she carried were not visible, but they were deep, bleeding silently into her teenage years. Yet somewhere in that darkness, something inside her shifted. An ember of defiance, small but powerful. She realized that if the world wouldn't accept her, she would accept herself. That single decision changed everything. Grace found refuge in a world of performance. A stage, bright lights, music, this was where her heart breathed. She joined Leicester College of Performing Arts and slowly reshaped her shattered confidence. But fate wasn't done testing her. When she entered the Miss England qualifiers, some whispered, "A lesbian can't win. Pageants aren't for people like her." But Grace didn't flinch. She entered Miss Leicestershire and won. She entered Miss East Midlands and won again. And with each victory, the world that once mocked her felt a tremor, because the girl they bullied was rising. But the competition wasn't just glamorous gowns and smiling photo ops. During the Miss England national finals, disaster struck. Grace planned a ballet performance, a tribute to the very art that healed her. But just a week before the event, she broke her foot. Doctors told her she couldn't dance. The judges expected ballet. The audience expected ballet. Her competitors whispered that this was her downfall. But Grace, the survivor, refused defeat. She changed everything overnight. She stepped onto the Wolverhampton Grand Station stage, not to dance, but to sing. And when the opening notes of "Never Enough" from The Greatest Showman echoed across the hall, something electric happened. Her voice shook the air, filled with a decade of pain, courage, and rebirth. It wasn't just a performance. It was a confession, a declaration, a roar. Judges watched in stunned silence as the girl who once hid in the corners of school hallways now commanded an entire auditorium. When she finished, the room erupted. At that moment, the talent round became the deciding factor of the entire competition. And that moment, her moment, secured her victory. Grace Richardson was crowned Miss England. But her victory did something bigger, something historic. She became the first openly lesbian Miss England in history. The first to step onto that stage not hiding who she was, not apologizing for who she loved, not shrinking herself to fit a world obsessed with labels and perfection. And as cameras flashed and applause roared, Grace felt everything she had endured, the insults, the bullying, The rumors, the loneliness, fall away like old shadows. She stood there in her crown and said, "Look what I've achieved. I ignored the negativity. I survived. And I made my dreams come true." Her win was not just personal, it was political, cultural, revolutionary. For young LGBTQ+ teens watching her across the UK, she became a mirror, a reminder that they are seen, they are valid, and their dreams are real. Grace exposed the silent biases still lingering in pageantry, forcing the industry to evolve. Her courage became evidence, undeniable and unforgettable, of the power of authenticity. Now, as she prepares to represent England at Miss World 2026, she carries not just a nation's hopes, but the dreams of countless young people who never saw themselves in pageantry until now. If she wins Miss World, she will become the first British woman to do so since 1964, a 62-year drought, waiting for a new queen. And maybe, just maybe, a new chapter in history is about to begin. This has been a story of scars turned into strength, of cruelty turned into courage. Grace Richardson didn't just win a crown. She rewrote the narrative of what a beauty queen can be. From being bullied in shadowed school corridors to standing beneath the spotlight of Miss England, her journey is proof that survival can be beautiful. This is Mr. Darkman TV, and I am Zainab Sabir. Stay vigilant, stay curious, because truth is always stranger, darker, and more powerful than fiction. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the unseen world behind the crowns, remember to like, subscribe, and keep watching Mr. Darkman TV. More secrets, more stories, more truth, coming soon.